Okay, welcome back everyone. CIS 102. Professor Cordy here. Sorry for my appearance and the background. I'm doing a lot of work here in my loft, painting and so on and so on. But anyways, let's go ahead and get moving here. We have finished the problem solving, portion of the course. First 5 weeks, we now have a better idea of determining what is the problem versus symptoms. Oh, how do you go about gathering data? How do you use tools to help you resolve issues? How do you work with people? Because that's going to be a huge thing when it comes time for you to get jobs out there. You'll be working in teams, and teams have to solve problems. So now you are all, well, maybe not experts, but you're probably a lot better off now than you were before on how to problem solve. The next area we're going to move into is actually an area that can be difficult for a lot of students. And it's not because of the ability to write, but it is because of the ability to write in what I call business ease. Now, that's not a real word, so don't Google it. I just made it up. But it's the method, the format, and the mind, the thinking behind writing that you would use in the business world. Now, a couple of quick thoughts, and then I will tell you a little bit about how we're going to get going. Business writing is short. It is to the point. It is generally without what I call fluff, meaning you don't have to express yourself. You don't have to over explain. You don't have to be overly polite, though polite is okay. But it is concise, it is to the point, it is short, and quite frankly, business writing can be, well, what I would call boring. Because the purpose, when you think about the purpose of business writing, the purpose of business writing is probably one of two things. It is either to request information or it is to provide information. Simple as that. Now, if you want to read, go out and get a good novel and enjoy it. But I don't know of anyone who's ever taken a whole stack of business reports to bed and read them at night for entertainment, because it is not entertaining. It is just a way for us to exchange information in the business community. So with that in mind, we are going to start with two of the most fundamental forms of business writing today. There are actually three. We're going to start with two. The first is email, which you all know. My guess is that none of you have probably remembered not having email available, maybe not necessarily to you, but in general. And the other is what we call a memorandum. Now, let's talk briefly about email. You all know how to write it. It is what we call a template. You call up your email account. You click new message, you put in who you want to send it to, their email address, or if you have a email directory, just click on the name. You don't have to put your name in because it is your account after all, but you can also send carbon copies. It can go to multiple people. A carbon copy, again, is really just a way of providing information to another individual or individuals. The two of any memorandum or an email in this particular case are the people that need to know it. Those that are CC'd, which is carbon copy, old school, or today I think they might even call it courtesy copy, is sent to individuals who it's a nice to know. They probably should know. Do they have to act on it? Probably not, but they need to be aware. There is a third area, which is called the blind carbon copy, or BCC, blind carbon copy or blind courtesy copy. Now, it is rarely used, and it's more like a secret, sending a copy to a secret person who no one else other than you and that person will know received a copy of it. And we'll talk more, the book will talk more about when you might use that or might not use it. But like I said, you use it very sparingly. I can't think of one time this year definitely this year that I've used it. Now I did use it on occasion when I was in the business world. But then again, it is mostly a secret, for lack of a better term, secret way of exchanging information with someone. The subject is, well, it's very short, generally not a sentence, but maybe a word or two, could be a phrase, and it tells the purpose of it. Now, a memorandum is basically visually the same thing. You have a date, you have a to, you have a from, you have a subject, you have a CC, you have a BCC. Now, the difference is you create the memorandum from scratch. There is no template that you should use. Now, let me qualify that. Yes, Microsoft Word, when you open up a new document, there are templates for things like letters and reports and calendars and memorandum. My suggestion, don't use them. Create them from scratch. Unless, and this is number 2, unless the company already has a template set up for a memorandum, and then you just fill in the blanks, which is fine. Now, they both do the same thing. They both send information. They both are used to receive information. They both have an opening. They both have a body. And they both have a conclusion or a closing in the message part of it. There should be always 3 paragraphs. Now, email. If you if you receive a message and they want you to respond with something simple like a date or a time, no need to have an opening, a body, and a closing, provided you hit that reply button. Just say yes or no or whatever and the date is. Now, a memorandum, chances are you will probably need an opening, a body, and a closing. The book will cover more about that. And the reason is because it's not electronic. There is no electronic copy, so someone can go back and refer back to it to see what it was all about. A couple other thoughts here. Emails are used both within the corporation or the company internally or externally. You can send an email to your boss. You can send one to, your boss can send one to you. You can send one to the president of the company. It doesn't matter. You can send it outside of the company. You can send it to a customer. You can send it to a supplier. But they can be used for any communication with anybody. Memorandum, on the other hand, are hard copies and are reserved 100% for internal use only. You would send a memorandum to your boss. Your boss may reply with a memorandum. You could send one to the president, but it's only within the company, not necessarily the building. So a lot of companies are all over the world, but you can send them a memorandum, hard copy, only within the company. You would never send one out to someone outside of the company. All right. So let's see, what else do I want to kind of give you up as a heads up on this? There's a lot of intricate things about each of them that you probably don't need to know, but let me go ahead here. I'm going to put up the share for the worksheet for this this week. And here we go. Again, as you can see here, it is communicating with emails and memos. Now I have a number of videos. And these videos actually, for objective 1, the first 3, the key forms of business writing emails, key forms of business writing memorandum, and there's a third one. I put the letter one in here already, but we will cover letters, but I still put it in so you have an idea of all 3. Read page 1. The 3 videos will give you a general overview of what these things are, a little bit of what I talked about, maybe a little bit more that you need to know. Number 2, objective 2, composing the main elements of the message. Again, as I mentioned, ideally you should be thinking about an opening paragraph, a body paragraph, and a closing paragraph. The opening paragraph will state the purpose in the first sentence. Why am I reading this memo? Well, because the memo says the purpose of this memorandum is to what? Request information, to share information. The purpose of this email is to what? Share or receive information. So unlike, shall we say, English compositional writing, where that purpose statement can really be found anywhere in the first paragraph, in business, it's the first sentence. That way, there's no questioning why the reader is reading it, and it also helps keep you on track. So keep that in mind. So it talks about that. Then the body obviously provides the details, and the closing. The closing is some kind of a follow-up or a closing thought, maybe a summarization of what the purpose of the memo was. But I would also, in your business communication, I don't recall if the books in this cover this, but you should have what they call a call for action, CFA. The call for action ideally should be the very last sentence of whatever the document is, memo, email, or letter. And it should state specifically, what is it that you want or don't want? So if you need a reply back from whoever the reader of the memo, the email, or letter is, say something like, I look forward to receiving your reply on, give them a date, and end it that way. If it's a phone call you want, let them know that. If it's another email you want, let them know that. A memo, whatever the case might be. But be specific. Now that is called an explicit. Now there will be times you don't need someone to do something, but there may be a need for them to do it. They may feel a need, in which case then a very simple implicit or implied, for the lack of a better word, call for action would be, if you have questions, let me know. Because if they have questions, they will contact you. If they don't, you won't hear from them. Okay, I don't think anybody's ever written back saying, I don't have questions, but thanks for asking. Don't do that. So again, that's what you do. So that's what we're talking about, the main elements. Now there's creating professional emails. It will give you more structural good stuff. How to construct professional memos. Again, more good stuff. Writing requests, writing response. Now these are your most often used types of communiques, letters, memos, or emails. They're what I call routine. You are asking for information, you are requesting information, or objective 6, you are responding, providing information. These two will help you. There are others called bad news messages. Now, bad news messages really, I don't particularly like the term bad news or negative messages because what you're really doing, indirectly you're telling someone that you cannot comply, but you are also then telling them what you can do. But keep that in mind. With a bad news message, while they may want something that you cannot comply with, you should always provide some kind of an alternative. All right, and that's what I call a bone, B-O-N-E, like a dog bone. But that's, again, don't Google it, you won't find that. But anyways, it'll talk about bad news messages. These could be the most difficult to write, but when you get a real good one, you can always use this template and change names and topics and dates and stuff like that. Bad news messages, probably no more than 10% of what you'll ever write. Okay. Writing documentation messages, again, these are like reports, so these will certainly help you out. Anyways, there are worksheets for objective 2 through 8, as there have been. Those are located in the Blackboard site. I'm going to go there right now. And this, by the way, I'll show you where this is also. So let me go back. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I almost shut you off there. So let me go to share screen. There we go. Let me start with the announcements. That would make a ton of sense. Oh, this is the old one. Sorry, I don't show the new one yet, but this will be posted momentarily. Sorry about that. The assignments. Written communication, we have a brand new folder. Communicating with email and memos, part 1. Open it. Here is the fact sheet we just took a look at. And here are your 7 documents. Fill them out like you did with the others. Upload them. Click here. Upload them all together, one at a time. Get them all in by the end of the day, 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, March 9th. Alrighty. As always, if you have questions, you got my email. Send me an email. I'll be glad to answer it. In the meantime, have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye now.